Live right here on this Tuesday on the early line as we approach even more of the summer months. We keep a focus on the PGA Tour. Keith Stewart joins us live right here on this Tuesday on the early line. Keith, we appreciate the time as always. Thanks for being here to preview the CJ Cup Byron Nelson. It's a tournament that's been long-standing on the PGA Tour with a snazzy new name, but we still head back to Texas for the PGA Tour this week.
Well, it's an exciting time because we're building up towards our second major championship of the year, the PGA Championship. We've got Live Golf in play this week. We've got a couple of the world's best down there in Dallas, so we got to break it all down and figure out how to win some more money, boys.
Keith, before we look forward, let's look back. Last week, the team event at the Zurich, and it was the Irishmen, Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry, winning in a playoff. Although a team event, the celebration was high for those two guys following, and for Rory McIlroy back in the winner's circle, where the form has not been all that great on tour the last couple of months. What can a win, even in a team event, do for Rory McIlroy in the rest of this PGA Tour season?
Well, I think it's a tremendous moment for Rory's camp because he's heading into Valhalla, which is the last place that he won a major championship back in 2014. And we keep talking about his major drought year after year after year. Rory really wasn't or hasn't been a part of much of the story so far this season. He's only got one top 10 prior to this win here, and it is a team event, but a place, Valhalla, where he's comfortable. Now all of a sudden, Jon Rahm hasn't won on Live yet. Is Rory the second best golfer in the world behind Mr. Scotty Scheffler?
How about that? Battling from tour to tour here. We talk about the Live Golf and the PGA. How about the LPGA Tour? Keith staying hot out there with a 35-1 ticket last week on Hannah Green, which I think this means Nelly Korda did not lose in that tournament and didn't play. So two questions. Great win on 35-1. And when does Korda get back out there to continue her winning ways?
Well, right now, Nelly's scheduled to play in a week. The ladies are traveling from LA over to New Jersey, so they're taking this week off. They're going to play next week just outside New York City at the Cognizant Founders Cup, which is a great event at Upper Montclair Country Club right here in my home state. Nelly is scheduled to come back then and go for number 6 in a row, but when she took the week off, I went with Hannah Green. Now, Hannah Green, she missed the cut out at the Chevron in Houston, but she's had a lot of great showings after missing a cut, and she's won. She was the defending champion there at LA at Wilshire Country Club. She loves that golf course. Australian golfer, very much like the Sandbelt, a lot of ground game at Wilshire, just a perfect fit. She goes 5 under, guys. She goes deep on the back 9 Sunday, blows away the field, wins by 3, second week in a row, winning on the LPGA Tour. We're excited. I mean, we're getting hot. It's major season. Read the line. Let's go.
Nelly Korda did win the Chevron Championship 2 weeks ago, the week following the first major of the year in the men's golfing world, of course, at Augusta. There is dominance going on in both tours right now. Scotty Scheffler on the men's side, Nelly Korda, 5 consecutive victories, tying an LPGA Tour record. So, Keith, now we go this week, of course, to the Byron Nelson, the CJ Cup Byron Nelson, new name, but a staple on the PGA Tour in the Dallas area. What do folks need to know about the track this week out in Texas?
Well, let me just break it down real quick with 3 keys. The first one is that this is the 7th longest golf course on tour, and we're talking about TPC Craig Ranch, where they're going to play par 71, 7,400 plus yards, and these guys, last year, the event was plagued by rain when Jason Day won, and they've got rain again this week. They've got over 6 inches of rain leading up to the event, and it's supposed to rain through all 4 rounds. So length is going to be a huge factor. Of course, that leads me into point 2, which is in the approach game, the length of this golf course has over a third of the approach shots coming in from over 200 yards. So we need our long iron and our mid iron players. Again, length a factor. And the third thing is that this is a complete birdie fest. TPC Lee, KH Lee won back-to-back years. Jason Day won last year. The average winning score is 25 under par. This is a race to 30 birdies in 1 week, and it's going to be wet. So you've got to have the guys that can really score and light up the leaderboard if you're going to keep up and be anywhere near the chance of winning come Sunday afternoon.
Let's take a look at some of the favorites in this tournament here, Keith, at under 25 to 1. You take a look at Scott, Zalatoris, Day, Kim, and Spieth. Are we headhunting for some of the superstars in this tournament? Thank goodness Scotty Scheffler is out here with a plus 220 price. Looks like the field is wide open. Of the favorites here, who are you looking to maybe strike on?
Oh, I tell you what, Donnie, I do not like the favorites this week. A lot of them are plagued by issues which are going to cause a problem that go back to those three keys. I mean, Jordan Spieth, he's missed 3 of his last 5 cuts. He's won twice in 7 years. I can't see how he's the favorite in any tournament, even in his hometown. Siwoo Kim is another guy. He can't score with the putter. The best ball striker in the field. And if you're going to make 30 subpar scores, you're going to have to make some putts. Jason Day, he's been awful on approach. I mean, he's been really poor with his iron game, and as a result, I just don't see him being an option. And then Will Zalatoris, again, like Siwoo Kim with the putter, I'm looking a little bit further down the board when I get to my early leans.
When you look at Jason Day, he won last year snapping a long losing skid. He comes back with that second best price, tied for the second best price at 18 to 1. So keep the early leans on the early line. Who gets your attention if you're not looking at the favorites?
I'm looking right there in the middle of the board, and I think there's some awesome value for a guy like Thomas Dietrich, who played well last week at the Zurich with his partner Bobby McIntyre. Again, filling up the cup last week at the Zurich is a good thing to see when you're heading into this kind of birdie fest. He was 17th at the Valspar. He was 2nd in Houston. And, of course, last week he was 8th at Zurich. The other guy I'm looking at a little bit further down the betting board, and that's Mark Hubbard. And a lot of people are talking about him. He opened the week at plus 7,000. He's already dropped 10 points down to plus 6,000. I mean, this guy is a hot commodity. He as well, he was 3rd place with Ryan Brehm. And no offense to Ryan Brehm, but I think, Mark Hubbard was definitely the horse at the Zurich last week. This guy, he's made every cut this year, 11 in a row, and a lot of them have been inside the top 30. I love Mark Hubbard to fill up the cup all week down there in Dallas.
Keith Stewart, we appreciate the time. Thank you for being here on this Tuesday on the early line. At the Byron Nelson, even the CJ Cup. Byron Nelson with the PGA Championship not all that far away. Keith, again, we appreciate the time.